Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ravemen TR150 Smart Bike Taillight. The Ravemen TR150 is the brand's most affordable TR taillight and features a 4 LED lens design with wide visibility. It's a budget-friendly bike taillight with a transparent lens that ensures the light is visible from an impressive 280-degree wide-angle range. As far as packaging, you can see you have the iconic orange and black branding that we see with the other Ravemen products. Full specs here with the runtimes and the lumen count, as well as some of the features printed directly on here. You also have this cool little window so you can actually interact with the taillight while it's in the packaging. I'll go ahead and take this out and we'll go over the specs. So retail price on this is $29.95, so quite affordable. And as the name implies, you get 150 lumen output. So quite bright. You will have a 4 LED design. So it gives you nice visibility from any angle, as well as a built-in brake sensor, which can also activate the sleep mode. So if you're not moving for 2 minutes, the light will automatically turn off to conserve the battery. You also have an 800 milliamp battery on the inside with a USB Type-C charging port that gives you up to 18.5-hour runtime in the low mode, and then a 6-hour runtime in the highest output mode. As far as what comes with it, you see quite a few things. We have the taillight itself. Has a standard quarter turn mount, which is compatible with a couple options. We have a body clip. You get a seatpost mount, which is also compatible with Aero seatpost. As you can see, it has a little inner cutout. A saddle mount with 2 zip ties included, just for a little bit of extra peace of mind. You get a USB Type-C charging cable, the insurance card for the warranty, and then the user manual in multiple languages. Now let's take a look at the weight of the taillight. So the taillight by itself is 52 grams. And then the seatpost mount, that's 18. And then the other mounts are just all plastic, so they should be quite light. 6 grams for the saddle rail, and then the body clip is almost the same at 7. Visually, the Ravemen 150 has a compact rectangular form factor with a fully transparent red body. There are 4 LEDs placed vertically, so you can see when it turns on, gives a nice combination of long distance visibility and then a diffuse light to ensure you're visible from side angles. You have a cool lens design too, so if you look closely, you can see the center 2 have this little circular lens that focuses it. Then the top ones are more exposed cob LEDs, so you can see the surface LED mount there. And then these little diffusers, as these angled lines, help diffuse the light. There's also these little sharp cutouts here. They give it a little bit more character instead of just being a flat box. And there's a good side shot too, so if you look through there, you can see the little focus lens for the center LEDs. Branding on here is limited to Ravemen TR150, printed in white on the sides. And again, most of the body is just red transparent lens with the battery hidden underneath that center section. It's an all plastic design, so pretty lightweight and fairly thick too. So it has good runtime. You're not going to run out of battery with this one for quite a few hours. The mounting on this is nice too. You have a Garmin mount, so this is a miniaturized version of that. Same idea as the Garmin mount, so 2 tabs exposed here, but it's all smaller to correspond to the smaller size of the taillight. You get a standard seatpost mount, so you can see just rotate, lock into place. Plastic mount with a rubber strap and the hook. And you can see you have this rubber pad here. And it has 2 cutouts, a round one for a standard seatpost, and then that inner one for an Aero one. The rubber itself feels nice and thick, so it should work well for daily use. You also have the saddle rail mount. So this is something we've seen with other brands. Same idea, locks into place, and then these 2 little hooks on the top will lock into place on your saddle rail. And you also get these zip ties that can be run through the little holes on top for a little peace of mind. What's cool is that Ravemen also includes the body mount. So use the same Garmin quarter turn style mount. And then you can see you have this body clip. And it even has that little ridge there, which ensures it doesn't slide out. So pretty nice combination. You can put this on your clothes or saddlebag, or you can use the other 2 options. Nice to have all the options all in one, especially for the low price. The user interface on this is really simple too. You have a top button. The bottom one is a USB port with a little cover, so it's USB Type-C. And the top one, single button. It's not backlit, and you can see it's big white button. Kind of stands out, especially on the red lens, but we've actually realized this is actually glow in the dark. So if you grab another light, just to simulate sunlight, so if this was outside for a long time, you can see this would charge up, and then now it actually glows. So you can see it's green, and it'll glow for a while. So it's kind of a cool idea, but it still looks a little bit cheap until you realize the fact that it is glow in the dark. The user interface though is very simple. A single button press or a long hold to turn it on, single button press to cycle through. You have 6 different modes, so a couple constant options and a couple really bright flash options that flex the full 150 lumen. All the LEDs illuminate together, and you can see you have some really bright modes as well as the standard constant modes. You have mode memory, so if I turn this off and then turn it on again, it'll remember where it was. And you can also enable or disable the brake sensor feature. So if you hold this for 3 seconds, you can see this will flash, indicates on. And then again, if I hold it for another 3 seconds, I can disable it. So it's kind of cool that they give you this option. So that lets you really customize whether you want it or not. And with the brake mode, that'll just go full 100 lumen when it detects some acceleration, which we'll show you actually on the bike. It's a pretty simple setup. You don't have a battery status indicator, but there is a little charge LED indicator that'll flash blue when you're under 10%, which is better than nothing. Now let's take a look at the output modes of the TR150. There are 3 different constant modes. You have high, medium, and low. That goes from 20 lumens down to 5. Low gives you the longest runtime of 18.5 hours. Then you have 3 different flash options. You have daytime flash, which is really bright at 150 lumen and 6.5 hour runtime. Rapid flash is the same flash pattern, but only 50 lumen. And then nighttime flash is a standard low-high, which is a lot more friendly to use at night or if you're in a group. Here you can see some riding footage with the taillight. So this is the daytime flash, and you can see even from longer distances away and through fog, it still has a nice bright flash pattern, and that irregular on, off, and then burst really helps with visibility as it's a little bit irregular. It's a nice bright taillight with the 4 LEDs. You can see the 2 of them, 2 LEDs in the center are very focused, and then the upper 2 give you the nice wide visibility. So a very bright taillight, even though it's not as bright as the TR350 or 500, still highly visible, and it's fairly compact as well. The great thing about this taillight though is the side visibility. So you can see that translucent lens really lights up. So even from side angles or intersections, people are still going to see you. And that's the nicest feature of this taillight. There also is the brake sensor, and you can see it's really hit or miss. You actually saw it go to the constant mode in the earlier clip. We had a hard time trying to reproduce it normally stopping. Otherwise, it would just trigger on bumps instead. We actually reviewed the TR500 and 350 already, and they both have the same size. Obviously, they're quite a bit brighter and they're bigger. So you can see with the 500 that we have here, it's thicker. It has a metal body rather than all plastic to help dissipate all that heat. It has a simple hook design rather than the quarter turn design, which I actually prefer. It's easier to put on and take off. But you can see with this one, it's a 3 LED design and obviously a lot brighter as it has a bigger battery. There are also other options like the Moon Sport Helix Sense. This also has a brake sensor, 450 lumen, so very bright, and has a cob LED design. So you can see, instead of having the focus LEDs, you just have these ring of cob LEDs. And again, super bright, obviously at 450 lumen, but quite a bit thinner, which is impressive, and metal construction. But obviously it costs more. The mount is the same miniaturized Garmin, but it's actually a little bit smaller than the one on the Ravemen. I've also done a ton of Magicshine lights. This is the 300. So this has a really cool combination of LEDs. So you have a cob LED, dual focused LEDs, and then they're opti-trace. So you have a downward facing LED that illuminates the bike underneath you. Metal body, obviously as it comes, has a much higher, brighter output. Very similar Garmin mount and USB Type-C. But this one obviously costs more. And what's great about Magicshine, as you can see, the button is back powered. So you have a little illumination light. So if you click them, you can see the battery status. Green means you're, I believe, over 30%. And then they have a couple levels underneath. So 3 levels versus just the under 10% low light that you get with the Ravemen. So it would have been nice to have a little more information about the battery state. We also have the KNOG Traffic. Super thin, so very sleek design. So KNOG is known for their sleek designs, and this one has these cool patterns that mimic a traffic light, so red, green, and yellow, but it's all red here, obviously. You don't have the long distance visibility, as it does have just cob LEDs, so better visibility from closer, but less from further away, and definitely a lot sleeker. We also have the NiteRider Bullet. This is a really cool light. It has this kind of mushroom design that flares out, and this has 360-degree visibility, so even from behind you can see it as it bulges out, while the Ravemen, obviously you can't see it from behind because it's hidden behind the body. But with this one you do have 280 degrees, so you can see if I just turn it slightly, I can still see the Ravemen, and it's a lot more compact than the Bullet. Now let's go over the pros and cons of the TR150. What I like about it is you have a budget-friendly price. It's very affordable for the 150 lumen output. You also have a nice translucent lens with the 4 LEDs that really lights up so you can see it from any angle. And we also like the fact that Ravemen includes a seat post, saddle mount, and body clip, all with the taillight. You don't have to purchase them separately. The main negatives of the taillight is the fact the brake sensor is pretty inaccurate, so it doesn't really trigger when we expect it. We ended up just leaving it off as you get more consistent runtime. And Ravemen also lacks a multi-level battery status indicator. You just have a low indicator when you're less than 10%. It would have been nice to have a little bit more granularity. Taking everything into account would give the taillight an 8.7 out of 10. It's a nice budget-friendly taillight with great side visibility. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.